Hello everyone, and welcome to my beginner's guide for EverQuest Classic on the Project 1999 private servers. I'm Dokutan, and I'll be explaining important factors when choosing your starting race and class, and I'll also cover getting started in-game and some other helpful hotkeys I picked up along the way that should make EQ Classic a little less painful to play. But first things first, let's talk about racial penalties and benefits. Alrighty guys, a few of the races have different XP requirements to level. Trolls and Exar require 20% more XP than other races, Ogres 15% more, and Barbarians 5%. Halflings are special because they require 5% less XP than the other races to level. Now, all the races I didn't mention require the normal amount of XP per level. If you choose a good race, you'll get great utility benefits. Good races are convenient because they can enter many more cities unharmed than evil races, which give them access to more banks, merchants, and most importantly, local guards that will save you when you're being attacked by too many mobs. They also tend to level faster than evil races because they don't have XP penalties, and in one particular case of the halflings, they get a passive XP boost of 5%. However, evil races tend to have better stat bonuses. Trolls and Exar both gain significant health regeneration bonuses. As you see in this chart, compared to humans and other races, starting at level 1 all the way up to level 60, the difference in health regeneration is dramatic. This especially good for Necromancer when used in adjacent with self-liching mana recovery abilities. Now if you're new to EverQuest, regeneration is pretty slow, so any bonus to health or mana regeneration is highly sought after. If you're thinking about making a warrior for main tanking, Ogres have the highest health in the game. Ogres and Exars also receive a passive AC bonus. If that wasn't enough to convince you to roll Ogre though, they can no longer be stunned from the front after level 50. Keep in mind, if you're going to roll a Shadow Knight, the only extra melee attack you get other than basic attacks and your double attack is called Bash. Bash can only be used if you have a shield equipped, and a lot of Shadow Knights like to use two-handers, rendering your Bash useless most of the time. But to counter this, if you pick an Ogre or Troll, you get an upgraded Bash called Slam, which you can use with a two-handed weapon. You should also take note that depending on the class you choose, you may require more or less XP to gain levels. Here we are at Project 1999's Wikipedia. As you see, it will list all the experience modifiers in the game. Hybrids take 40% more XP to gain levels, Monks take 20% more, and Casters take 10%. While Warriors and Rogues require around 10% less XP to gain each level. Alright, that concludes the race class portion of my guide. Although some race class combos are better than others on paper, feel free to play whichever one you want. I'm a little biased when it comes to evil characters because I enjoy the stat ability bonuses they provide. Anyways, let's make our first characters together and I'll walk you through getting started. For starting statistics, come to Project 1999's Wikipedia, find your class on the front page, and if you scroll down a little bit, it should have a section for that. Alright everyone, now that you've made your character, I recommend you straighten out your UI. Alright, so we got our UI set up. As you see, I have a Tells window now and a Combat Log window. You can do that by right-clicking your main chat window, creating two new windows, renaming them, and then adding the filters of what information you want to go to each one. Alrighty, so the next thing we're going to do is make 3 simple hotkeys. If you want to make hotkeys in EverQuest, you have to go to your actions bar. If you don't have your actions bar up because you accidentally clicked off of it, just go to EQ, and you should see actions and the action windows option. That should bring up this. You're going to go to the last tab, the socials page, and you're going to click the arrow to the right, and you'll see a bunch of blank hotkeys ready to be made. Okay, so just right click one of the blanks and fill these in, /corpse, /toggle inspect off and on. Now all you have to do is just click down on your hotkey, drag it over to your hotbar, and you're probably going to want to put it on page 2. So go ahead and fill in all those there. The drag hotkey will teleport your corpse to you every time you press it. Most people spam this hotkey while running to drag their corpse to a safer spot. Inspecting yourself while in battle can be quite annoying. The inspect hotkeys will make it easy to toggle it on and off. Next, we will make a sense heading hotkey. Sense heading, when used, has a chance to tell you the direction you are currently facing. Using this with online maps will help you get around because there are no in-game maps in EverQuest Classic. First thing you want to do is hit your EQ button, go to your skills, scroll down till you find sense heading, make a hotkey, drag that to your hotbar. The next step is to find options, so go to your EQ button, hit options, find the keys tab, and select category hotbar 1. Now depending on where you put your sense heading hotkey, you're going to find the corresponding command, go over to the alternative, and press D. Now what this does is every time you press the D key down, which you will a lot when you're turning to the right, it's going to be using your sense heading and leveling it up. Once it's reached level 200, you then can get rid of your sense heading key by just going back to the D here, and it says press a key, just hit escape, and it clears everything up. Just keep in mind, sense heading will not level up unless you put 1 practice point into it. 2 other quick tips, guys. Go to your keys and you'll see category commands. Pay attention, your auto attack is on Q, so you might accidentally, while running with the W key, because WASD is your movement keys, you might accidentally press down Q and attack a trainer or a guard or something like that, so be careful of that. And another thing you might want to do is bind your open and close inventory bags, because by default they're not bound. I like B and Shift B. Also, if you like tab targeting, now might be a good time to change that. Go to your keys, select category targeting, and you'll see down here cycle through nearest NPCs, bind the alternative to tab. Feel free to discard the Tome of Order in Discord. It's used for a PvP flagging quest, and it's not going to be needed on the PvE servers. Keep in mind, the book is tradable, so you can always make an alt and trade it to your main. If you're a caster, you're going to have to memorize spells. Take a newly bought spell, click it, and drag and drop it into your spellbook. Then you just click and drag it over to your ability bar. It's pretty simple. Be sure to visit your trainer at level 22 to put a point into dodge so it starts leveling, and also I recommend around level 10 or 12 your meditation skill will unlock, and you're going to want to put 1 point into that. All extra practice points, I recommend you save them if you're a caster for research. And if you're a melee, you might want to save those extra practice points for double attack or your dual wield. Now you guys might be asking, what's next, Doku? Well, now you're free to do whatever you want. But I will give you guys a few more tips. Getting around EverQuest Classic is really hard because there's no in-game map. If you hit M, you'll see the maps disabled. So I'm going to give you 2 websites to go to that'll save you a lot of time when trying to figure out where do I get my spells, where do I buy bags, and most importantly, how do I get out of this freaking city to go XP. If you're traveling zone to zone, use the Ultimate Norath map. For instance, I'm in the city of Kabalus, and if I wanted to get to Freeport, which is somewhere up here, I could kind of get an idea of how to get there. Now if you're in a city and you're looking for specifics, use EQ Atlas. It has every zone in the game, and you just click it, and basically you're going to use this as like an out-of-game map. If you do /enter in game, it should tell you what part of the city you're in, and you can just click that part of the city, and it'll have all the merchants and everything listed right on the map. Easy to use. Alright, pet casters, talking to all enchanters, necromancers, and magicians out there. Make sure you outdeal your pet as much as you can while you're solo. You have to deal around 51% of the damage to each mob while solo to get the full XP off of a mob. If you cannot outdamage your pet, he's going to take 50% of your experience. In early levels, if you're having issues with this, I recommend you go in and melee if it's safe, because your melee attacks should normally outdamage your spell attacks early on. Alright guys, I got one last tip for you guys. If you're an evil caster and you have Invis, you can bank in Freeport. This is a little trick I learned myself. Position yourself in between this wall here at the Freeport Bank and the banker, and you should be able to click and talk to him around the corner as long as you're not too far outside the wall. Keep in mind, guards will kill you here and the bankers will kill you, so make sure you're between this wall and the banker. But other than that, as long as you invis in and out, you should have no problem doing this little trick.